Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Fag end of the day, last session, and we are talking of fusion food. Fusion food. Yeah. So let me start, and we have these wonderful gents to give their insights on from pizzas to burgers to falafel, and not to miss the accompaniment going along. We have Pepsi, we have HyFun. So let us start going. Let us dish out to these gents what we are talking about. Fusion foods. So today the market talks about Indo-Western, there is street food fusion, there is regional food fusion, there is cocktail fusion, and me being from MOD, we do dessert fusion. So we do Kaju Katli donuts, we do Gulab Jamun donuts during Diwali. And I don't know how many eat it. But yeah, there is. But I just want to say also that during my college days, I used to like having noodles with dal. I didn't have the money that time, trust me, guys. But it was nice, I think. And I still keep on eating it when my wife gets angry. So the fusion and confusion still continues, and I really want to start my session with everybody. Anybody can talk about it. What is fusion food for each one of you? And particularly in your scope of cuisine you cater to. I know Pepsi doesn't cater to any cuisine, but they make cuisine happens. Anybody, please.
Okay, since you called out Pepsi. We do help build the fusion food, but we also have a huge snacks arm, right? A snacks business in Lay's and Doritos, Kurkure. And when the fusion food term comes, we are Indians, right? For a long time, namkeen. How do we eat namkeen? We pour it out of the packet, put it on the palm, and then we gulp it, right? Or we use a spoon and have it. And how do you have a chip? You take one chip at a time and then you have it, right? I wouldn't say pioneers, but we were amongst the earlier ones to actually fuse both of them in Kurkure. And the name is such that you wouldn't even think it's so Indianized now. You wouldn't even think that it is a fusion food. So we actually called it a bridge category in our foods portfolio. Bridge means a bridge between Western and Eastern. So, you have Kurkure, but you don't, it's closer to an Indian palate, but you don't put it on the palm. You still eat it like a chip one by one. That to me is the best example that we have on Pepsico side of fusion food.
And you still maintain it's a fusion food. Sorry? And you still maintain it as a fusion food.
I can't hear you. Maybe the voice. I still call it.
You still maintain it as a fusion food, I said.
Is he saying patent? Maintain. No, we call it a bridge category.
That bridge was not happening right, I think. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, please. Anybody, please. What is fusion food for you guys?
So, I'll take it on from Anand. So, I think Jumboking, we were Vada Pav back in 2005. And my mentor in building brands, there's this gentleman called Alries who talks about being very focused on what you do and take one category. Like, Domino's does pizzas and does only that. McDonald's does only burgers and does only that. And when we were trying to build an Indian brand, so we had earlier at that time picked up Vada Pav. And within that, we realized we have to create variations because we needed to move up on the pricing. So we added, I remember, we had added the Shezwan Vada Pav and Chole humne add kiya tha, gravies at that time. At the risk of, having Shiv Sena coming to our door and saying, boss, this is traditional food, you're not allowed to touch it. That how the hell are you adding all of these things into this food? But it was all happening because the next generation, right, it is a younger generation, they wanted to move on. They love the tradition, but they wanted the flavor of what was happening around them. And it worked really, really well. And of course, now when Jumboking, we transitioned to burgers, and we do only vegetarian burgers. So, if you go to any of the international chains, they have 2 or 3 burger variants. And we wanted to have 7 because we have a promotion of the JK of the day. Absolutely. So they said 7 vegetarian burgers, kahan se milega? How can you have 7 different things? But now we have 7 versions, and these have come after we have introduced another 5 and rejected them. So this is all fusion food happening at play because it is a business requirement to be relevant, to keep on changing, and just keep on disrupting yourself, I would say, to be ahead on that innovation curve. And it's all, so we have a mac and cheese burger, like where we said we put macaroni and inside the burger and the cheese sauce on top of it. And it has worked really, really well.
Well, sorry. Samir, I want to go back to you now.
Yeah.
How well have you added to the confusion?
Yeah, I think we played our role in confusion over the years, but it's also been helpful. So we brought pizza to this country 26, 27 years back.
Absolutely.
And for the first 15, I think the simple focus was just focus on what has worked internationally. And Domino's is a 95 country presence brand today.
Absolutely.
But I think in 2012, we tried something which was a little bit of an Indian version of a taco. And then from there, for the last 8 or 10 years, like Dheeraj said, there's been a bunch of innovation on Indianizing and creating a whole bunch of options. So for example, garlic bread is Western,
Sure.
but garlic bread with paneer inside, which is a tikka version of paneer, is as confusion or as fusion it can get. And then we've obviously gone and rolled a bunch of, paratha pizzas, etc. And I think the mental model, Tarak, has been to say consumers are getting younger. We want to remain relevant for younger audiences as well. And I think the openness to be flexible and experiment for that segment is a lot more open than, let's say, 45, 50-year-olds. And we use it, therefore, to be relevant, try and innovate. And then anything that meets a certain level of scale, then we add permanently to the menu,
yeah.
to the main menu. And I'll be honest, it's not that everything that we've done has been successful, but it's a good learning curve. It builds a lot of muscle for the team internally. And I think for us, it keeps the brand very relevant. And because pizza by itself can have toppings, we've brought a whole lot of Indian flavors on top of a Western fundamental product with chole, like Dheeraj said, more tikka, tandoori versions, etc. We've even gone to things like champaran mutton,
Yes.
chingdis, we've tried prawns, Bengali style. So we've done a lot of stuff on that. And once it gets to scale, then we take it and broad base it, Tarak. So that's what we've done. And I think we played our role on that one.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Amir. Rahul.
So
Yeah, sorry.
in HyFun, we do think that is very relevant to have this fusion in your portfolio. We also have tandoori paneer tikka pizza. We have Mumbai aloo vada patty with us. We have soya patty and pav bhaji patty as well. So basically fusion for me is tasting two cultures in a bite.
Wonderful.
So I cannot go to Mexico, but I can still experience Mexico sitting out here. I remember when I was young, तो मेरी मम्मी मेरे को confusion बनाती थी, तो पुराने जो बचे हुए राजमा के ऊपर चॉप करके टमाटर और प्याज बेटा आज रोल बना के खाते हैं. So so those memories are still alive. So we also anyways want to try something different, but still want something Indian in it. So I guess that is driving fusion food to the roots. So that is my take on fusion as of now.
Brilliant.
So for us, I think the entire theme of our menu is fusion, right? So Indianized burgers, Burger Singh does Indianized burgers. And like Domino's, like all these OGs of fast food, when they came to India, they all went with the menus that had worked for them internationally. So they took the typical menus, brought them to India. And at some point, all of them realized that you need to give it some sort of an Indian twist.
Absolutely.
So a lot of the experimentation around whether these products are going to work or not had already been done. But because these were still international chains, they were still sort of restricted in their capacity to turn the entire menu into an Indian menu, like, excuse me. So McDonald's would have like a McAloo Tikki, for example, but they retain most of their international chains. So for us, and looking at the success of that and like various other brands and what they've done with the Indian twist, we designed an entire menu around fusion. So from the day we started, there was like a United States of Punjab burger, which is like a tandoori chicken, and there's a butter chicken, and there's a chana burger. And so the entire menu for us, I mean, for us, fusion is kind of the theme altogether. So we decided eventually evolved into playing on price point and value and all those things. Absolutely. But the central theme of our menu has always been fusion. So for us, it's like everything. It's all of it.
Mahesh, for you now.
Yeah, great.
Don't add.
I head South Korean brand, that's Gopizza. I remember 25 years back when Pizza Corner, when pizza was launched, my mother was asking, ये क्या रोटी है, उस पे सॉस डाल रहे हो, ये क्या है, ये इसको 400 रुपए 500 रुपए देके कैसे खाओगे? But after 25 years, I still see we don't have to teach customers what is pizza. And that's how we launched this brand last year and saying how different we are. If you are different with a USP, it can be made a difference. We are different with 4S, that's shape, size, speed, and service. We serve pizza in 5 minutes. The shape is a oval-shaped pizza, and it's a personalized pizza. The space we take from 50 square feet to 2,000 square feet, we can open an outlet. And that's our aim, to open outlets, and we will be opening 50th outlet next month, and 50 more outlets we'll add in the next 6 months. The Korean pizza, yes, as you all know, the trend is because of Netflix and BTS, it's helping us. So we do have Korean pizzas, Korean sauces. Like in Italy, if you go and say paneer pizza, they'll say pizza mein paneer and how can you eat? In the same way, the Koreans were reaction, tandoori pizza in India, how can you eat? But we sell tandoori also, we sell paneer also, we sell shrimp pizza also, we sell crab pizza also. And that's the difference in our cuisine which we have. And all this pizza has been served within 5 minutes. And it's a food tech company, and that technology helps us to ensure the consistency across everywhere.
Brilliant. Amir, for you now. Falafel. How can you add to the confusion? Sorry? How can you add to the confusion? Sorry, fusion.
Well, I mean, so that's the thing. This was the biggest, one of the biggest challenge for us to come to India and try to maintain the fact that we are authentically Middle Eastern food without Indianizing our product. And by Indianizing our product, that's how we incorporate fusion into the menu. The problem is that local brands already have Indianized our cuisine to begin with. So you will, you know, if you go down the street, you'll find your chicken tikka shawarma, or you'll find your paneer shawarma, your peri-peri hummus, all of those things that, you know, they're not quite Arabic food, but they're the new fusion confusion trend that's been happening. So we've, as a single cuisine type of establishment, we've tried to stay authentic. It's very difficult to do so because the fusion has mass appeal, because it allows the customer to, you know, eat something new but still retain some of the flavors of what they're used to in their olden palate. And I think this is very tied into where the country is in its development. And I'm not talking about India here specifically, any country, where, you know, you start off with, in any hotel, you'll find, let's say, for example, an Indian buffet, and the next buffet would be a continental buffet. That's how it starts. And then you move on to a broader regional. You start to get regional restaurants where there is fusion over there as well. So you will find, for example, Pan-Asian cuisine, which is kind of Asian, kind of Chinese, kind of Indian, kind of everything, all kind of meshed up together. As the population develops, travels, becomes richer, sees more cultures, more food, they start to demand more specific cuisines. So right now, even though I think TruFalafel is a single cuisine type of food, it's actually a fusion in of itself, because our restaurant serves food from North Africa to the Southern Gulf, which is generally a fusion with Indian products as well. And from there, if I wanted to go super single cuisine, then I would, being from Jordan, serve you Jordanian food. But nobody knows what Jordanian food is. So that, in effect, becomes not successful. So you have to kind of, there's a fine line between maintaining your authenticity and being appealing to the palate as well. So we can Indianize, but if we do that, then we're competing with everybody who's already Indianized before us, and they do a much better job at that than we would. So we've tried to stick to authenticity, but we've also accepted the fact that there are certain palates that the Indian market would like to try. So our first attempt now is to do a Bombay shawarma. And thankfully it's going well. And the hope always is that it doesn't dilute your brand image, so that you do not become just like any other Lebanese Mughlai cuisine that you see in the market. You always have to maintain your USP, you have to maintain your core product, and if you end up bastardizing your product too much and creating too much fusion, then as Tarak would love to say, all you create is confusion and you're just one of many.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Before I go to Steve, I will not ask you this question, but I definitely want to ask you one thing. Would you love to have noodles with dal?
Wouldn't mind trying it.
Okay, so let me break this a little bit more, and Steve is an amazing mall developer from Forum. And I really want to ask you, how have you developed this F&B space in your mall specifically, and are helping us, each one of us, in your malls these days? Don't create confusion now.
Thanks, Tarak.
Yeah.
Definitely not going to create confusion. But just a few thoughts. And I come from a space where we don't make food. We're real estate developers. We build malls across the country. But we are observers. So we can see what's happening in the industry. The moment you say fusion, I think the initial reaction is cringe. Everyone's like, it's overdone, it's overkill. But we should be careful that we're not missing out the fact that fusion is fueled by innovation. And I don't think not too many categories within a mall space have seen as much innovation as the F&B industry has, or that category has on its own. And we've seen it. Pre-pandemic, mall developers would talk about hypermarkets being the major footfall driver. We would talk about multiplexes being the major footfall driver. But over the last 5 years, I think this is massively transformed. And I'm not just talking about the Prestige Group, I'm talking about the whole developer fraternity. All of us have realized the importance of F&B as an offering within a mall. And I think it's the hero. Right now, if a mall does not have enough F&B options, does not have a fusion of flavors and cuisines, it's only setting itself up for failure. And that's a very, very clear-cut fact. That's not even something which is subjective. So we are very gung-ho about it. Obviously, the creativity within the fusion, everything that's happening is fueling this. And as mall developers, we're super excited. We're developing centers, 500,000, almost 1 million square feet centers, and 30% of the space, 30 to 35% of the space has been designated as F&B. And this could be everything from food counters to experiential restaurants to microbreweries, you name it. So overall, my perspective on this is we're damn excited. Firstly, to see what's happening within the industry. And also on a lighter note, fusion doesn't have to be a bad thing. 2-3 weeks ago, over Diwali, I had a gulab jamun cheesecake, which was spectacular. So, yeah, that's my two cents. I think it does. If well done, it works.
But do you have any store which serves, Anish is here somewhere, molecular gastronomic foods?
I'd rather not. Right now, we won't address that. Not yet.
Not yet, okay. Let's go to the next question, which is obviously again targeted to the food and QSRs. So is there a huge market for this fusion category, and what do you think is a kind of a contribution which settles down to a number, or you want to a little bit describe about the whole thing?
I myself was surprised. You'll be surprised also. In few of my pizza outlets, we sell more ramen than pizzas. Ramen. Korean ramen. So it's Gopizza, but the kids are coming only for ramen over there and not for the pizzas. So if you're asking the trends are helping, and the TV channels are helping to accept new trends, to try new trends. If there is no innovation and technology parallelly playing in every calendar, I feel it's difficult to compete.
So while I said earlier that the trend is going towards single cuisine menu, we should never say never to anything, right? You cannot discount fusion cuisine because, as you all have seen, one of the biggest cuisines on the planet now is actually a fusion cuisine, which is Tex-Mex. So your nachos and all of these things that we love are not actually Mexican. They're a fusion between Mexican and American cuisine. And sometimes these things end up spawning flavors that are more popular than the local countries that actually have their own diverse food palettes as well. So we cannot discount it. If you want to talk about tacos, for example, sticking with the Mexican example, the most famous taco is a taco al pastor, which is actually invented by Lebanese immigrants to Mexico and have fused the concept with the traditional taco and made the taco like a shawarma, which they cut and they put into the taco. And that's now the most famous taco. So to discount it completely and to say that fusion will die, I think is very dangerous, because that's how new food keeps getting invented over and over again. So just something to keep in mind.
Yeah,
Yeah, correct. Please.
you know what Amir was saying, I probably want to talk a little bit about nachos and what all the hoteliers and restaurateurs here can do with Doritos that we have, how you can add a lot of value. But that's for another day. I'll probably pick up one example from our beverage portfolio. Fusion for us is also what elevates the taste, the flavor, and for business partners helps drive the premium, right? And I just want to draw an analogy between fusion and mixology. Carbonated soft drinks are as American as a product can be, and mango in India can be as Indian as any can be, right? Whether it's Alfonso, the Sherry, Langda, all of it. We are putting together a menu on driving mixology with mango and Pepsi Black and a lot of other ingredients to make a very, very amazing drink, right? We're also putting up something in the evening, so for whoever is hanging and being there in the evening, do try that out. And I'm sure that can be a definition of fusion as well, right?
I love that. Let's try it in the evening. Today evening. Yeah, okay. Dheeraj sir.
So, adding a couple of points, of course, having heard everyone, I think also with a very nice manufacturing and supplier base getting built, right, a lot of stuff is becoming possible, which was not possible 10 years ago. So a lot of the fusion is happening because the technology is evolving, which is letting the fusion actually happen. And production can happen at mass scale, because if you have to make, say, any patty that we may want, but then you require 10 tons of that every month. So it has to be machine produced. And so that is the advancement in technology is a game changer. Then also I think something like certain flavors like peri-peri, right? It's worked so well. Add peri-peri to anything and it becomes tastier, it's spicier, it is cool sounding, and it sells. So we actually added on our French fries, we have cheese sauce and peri-peri is sprinkled on it, and it does very, very well. Right? We just introduced a peri-peri nachos burger.
Wow.
Right? And see, so that's a reaction. People want to try it, and what they are looking for is the comfort food. It is the spiciness, the crunch of the nachos and the breadcrumbs on the patty, and a soft bun with a nice flavored sauce.
Absolutely.
So that need is getting met, and people need that once a week. And you then fuse that with a nice beverage. Of course, Anand is over here. He's from Pepsi. We serve Coke.
Anand,
so
he says that you confuse people.
No. So we fuse it with the beverage.
I'm doing my best. Trust me.
We fuse it with the and so I think innovation, but keeping within boundaries. Sometimes we have gone overboard, and people
Absolutely.
reject it outright. If we are ridiculous with the kind of combinations that get made, and I think price point is also very, very critical, right? So getting the fusion, like we operate at the 99 rupee price point. So sticking sticking to that, and then seeing what best is possible to drive the innovation.
Yeah, brilliant. I think. Yeah.
See, from a manufacturing standpoint, so let us say if Burger Singh or Jumbo approaches us and asks, "Mere ko samosa patty de do," and we can get it at economics of scale. If you want cheese chili paneer patty or a cheese chili mozzarella filled patty, we have those capability to do it. So the scales are there. You just have to imagine and bring it to the table, and we are open to doing that. And secondly, one thought is fusion. कि अगर मैं बात करूँ, it has been always there for since ages. So the best fusion for me is Kolkata biryani. Usi mein aloo, usi mein anda, usi mein chicken. Correct. It's a fusion. Now it's nobody talks about that. Indian thali again is a fusion. You know. So कौन सी सब्जी के साथ क्या combination बनाना है? Correct. So that again is a confusion fusion. So it has been so integral to our Indian food, but yeah. So it gives us lots. See, we have experimented and adapted it as a regular part of a food. If we wish, we can take it anywhere we want.
Yeah, and as I listen to everybody, I think there's another point, Tarak, that comes to mind. One is creating ready-made fusion, which means actually you are deciding on behalf of the customer, and then experimenting and learning and saying, is it working or not? I think the other model that we have also tried to use, and we have a very big-sized Domino's app, which is quite a significant channel for customers to sort of order their pizzas from. And I think using technology to allow for customization of what they'd like, even within the guardrails of saying, there are 4 types of bases that I can take. It can be a cheese burst, it can be a hand tossed, it can be a thin crust, it can be a par-baked crust. And then you can actually add and sort of play that fusion game to suit your individual palate. I think is the other vector to think about. So we've tried to do that a lot as well. So people can make their own mini fusion versions of pizzas by playing around with the toppings that they'd like or exclusions that they like. And then using B2C technology in the app to be able to allow for that at scale is the other vector. So we also think about saying within standard products, how can you create customization capabilities for individuals as a means of pushing the fusion agenda a little bit.
And Samir, I must confess that DIY, which is do it yourself on different pizzas, is an amazing thing, which I just love. Thank you.
So the question was, the question was how popular.
What kind of contribution it does to the whole scheme of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like part of our DNA to some degree, as much as Jugaad is a part of Indian DNA. There's something, like you said, about noodles and dal that just makes an Indian person happy. You know, like
I'm making this famous, trust me.
Huh?
I'm making this dal and noodle famous now.
Yeah. No, so I actually remembered an instance where we went around a table and there was a lot of people, not just Indians, who were talking about what's the weirdest thing you've had with a hangover in the morning when you have nothing left in the fridge. And after the Indians were done on that conversation, everybody just got up and left. They're like, we're not competing with that. So it's just, somebody mentioned, I think, a gulab jamun cheesecake earlier. And Punjabi by nature used to do these vodka golgappas and whatever. So I think there's just like, it's like negotiating and jugaad. It's one of those things that we just inherently enjoy a lot. And so I think the popularity is immense. Like even us, like for a long time, we thought that we wouldn't be able to go toe to toe with like some of the larger QSRs early days. But now once we've started doing bigger high street stores next to Burger Kings and whatever, we are doing per square foot, we are matching the revenue that they're generating. So there's clearly a demand for it.
So the confusion is here to stay. That's what you're saying.
My
God, I get scared with you.
I'll take the liberty of extending the fusion definition a little bit. Yeah. We talk a lot about demand spaces and where a consumer is consuming what. So if I were to just extend that fusion piece, there are categories and there are brands which serve multiple demand spaces, right? So Gatorade, for example. All of us know Gatorade as a sports drink. It hydrates you, gets the salts back in the body. But Gatorade, especially after the party that we're going to have tonight, is also a very good drink to have before you go to bed, right? When you get up in the morning, you don't have a hangover. So,
Anand, I understand you're sponsoring the evenings even. And you don't have to mention that time and again.
all of them.
I don't mind the cash also.
On a very related note, I think we should also remember that almost every successful cocktail bar we know also does the same thing, right? It's mixology. Like everyone's got a signature cocktail which they've tried, they've come up with and absolutely hits the spot. So I mean, fusion is alive and well. We can't deny it. I think it's well done fusion that will stand the test of time.
Great. This is for Gagan especially, I think. So how is a food enabler you approach this distinct culinary diversity, what we are talking about? I know it must be really confusing for you also.
It's not that confusing. See, we are open up to ideas, so if somebody approaches us,
It's on, I think.
so if somebody comes to us and he wants any solution, so we have those capability in place, to scale what they are looking at. So, for a restaurant to scale up, they need some kind of consistency, hygiene and quality that we can deliver. See, we have state-of-the-art BRC certified plants. We are open to audits from anybody who wants to come and audit. And then that is, if you want leverage, we can, use our scale so that you bring the economics to your product and get volumes out of it.
Understood. So I have this last question for everybody, and again, anybody can answer this. So I'm seeing this, how fascinating this fusion culture is bridging gaps among, various people, various cultures, various regions, etc. How do you see people involved in this culinary movement influence global cultures coming into India? Are you not getting it? I was just talking about confusion only. You can still keep on talking about it. I was saying that how this global influence is, creating cultures, etc. What you're seeing in the next 5 years, what is going to happen? Is global fusion coming into this country and keeping it straight, or we still will be confused as ever? Is my question. I hope you got that.
See, fusion, if I talk about, noodles from China has, gone all across. And then, tacos from Mexico has gone all across. Is there any Indian, food which can go all across the continents? South Indian idli dosa is one which has been, relatively easily consumed and accepted as a fusion food. Can we look at other foods, so why accept global foods? Why can't we send our food and become a global? So that is the trend that, I would like to, I hope that, every hotel that we check in maybe US, Chola Bhatura is on the menu, so.
You're right.
But on a lighter note, I think it's accepted. Like London's after party food is chicken tikka. So we're there already.
I guess
And
maybe the
donuts.
convenience of it is very necessary. So if it is convenient to do, it is, it is acceptable globally. Chinese koi bhi banata hai. Correct. Idli dosa is very easy to make, so can this become a global menu?
Why not? Okay, I think I've done it all. I think anybody wants to say something, otherwise we'll open this up to the people. They can ask any questions related to only confusion only. Yeah? Don't ask anybody's girlfriend's name. Yeah, okay. Anish, you are on. No. I know. Yeah, so yeah, please, guys, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to ask questions. I'll be honored to give it to them.
Hi, I'm Neha and I'm from Pepsico. And my question to the panel is that a lot of times we see the trends going towards value for a consumer. And a lot of times when we are talking innovations and confusion or fusion, it is essentially moving in the direction of innovation, NPD, and charging a premium. So how do you balance that chord between getting more consumers in with an entry value meal or an entry value offering versus going all out and talking about cult innovations and new offerings in the menu? And anyone can answer that.
Share that example because we had an exact similar situation. So we were looking at doing a cheese burst patty in 2017, right before it had already come out. And we went to our manufacturer, which is Vista. And so with this brief that we want a patty in which fill it up with cheese, coated with breadcrumbs, and when I bite it, it should give me that stringy feeling like I'm eating a pizza, right? That was the brief. And after about 2 weeks, they came back with 3 samples, and they said, okay, this is, so, and they have cost in mind, because the cost was given that we are looking at about 300 to 350 rupees a kilo for this product. And so the first product they came up with was, this is 100% processed cheese, and this is 100% cheddar, and there is a 50% processed and cheddar. And they were explaining, you know how important the manufacturing partners are. They were explaining to us the advantage of going 100% processed, that you're going to have, it will be so hot that people are going to end up burning their mouth. And when it came to the 100% cheddar, they said that it is going to, when you actually eat the product, the cheese is going to collect on one corner. So when you bite into it, if you started from the wrong end, the customer is going to complain, hey, there's no cheese inside. And that, we will have to go with the version which is 50%, 50%. And then they said, however, this is also not going to serve the purpose, and we should not launch this product at all. So, just going with the pricing part that you spoke about, Neha, and how innovation was being driven, because we are saying that, hey, we are vegetarian and cheese is vegetarian, so can we have it into the patty and do something new? Of course, then there was another completely different company called Sevencia, which came and solved the product, which I think they supply a lot of products to Domino's also.
Yes, please. Anyone? Anish, you can also ask. Okay, go on.
The other gentlemen on the panel, because we know they've all experimented in some form or the other with a mix, whether you call it fusion or confusion, or with a mix of Indian and the very Western products that they have, whether it's pizza or whether it's burgers. How about you? Because I heard yesterday about this terrific product, which was then on the table, chocolate-covered Kaju Katli. In the donut space, have you ever considered doing this, let's bring the Indian element in, whether it's for Diwali, whether it's for Navratri, whatever, but to bring that Indian mithai into a donut?
Are you not staying in this country anymore?
I'm just not eating them out of a donuts.
No, I'm saying because this particular thing of Kaju Katli donuts and Gulab Jamun donuts, we have been doing it for ages now.
Seriously?
During Diwali. And trust me, it sells in numbers. I don't know why. No, it has to sell actually. That's a business of ours.
So it actually does work, even in a format like that?
Yeah, it does work. My worry was only that after eating Kaju Katli along with donuts, somebody should not rush to the washroom. That's my only worry was to my team. But it worked. Trust me, it worked very well. And this has been working. I think there has been a lot of takers every year after year. And that is why I said in the morning also that we have started calling ourselves as Modern Mithai, MOD.
But not well enough to make it a regular menu item.
I don't know, because Kaju Katli itself and Gulab Jamun itself doesn't have a great shelf life. It doesn't have to stay on the table for a long time. So I think we may not want to do it. It's just a novelty, what we do during Diwali, during Christmas, we have something else to do. We are doing something else. So every time of the year, we do a mango donut festival, which is amazingly done well. Caramel festival once in a while. So I think we do a lot of stuff together with various partners. And it works. I think it's more of a brand engagement all the time. So every 5th week, 6th week, we launch around 4 different flavors of donuts. And I think that's in the menu. Brilliant. I think we are before time, Manish.
You are.
Can we go home now? Pepsi is calling.
There is a party on tonight.
The Pepsi is calling. I said, I got the sponsor out.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we just send him to the bar? He can come back with the bottles and we just stay here.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, amazing bunch of gentlemen speaking to us today. I think fusion food is here to stay for sure. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. Have a good evening. Thank you.